9 sinister sugar daddy tales revealed. Spine-chilling stories that will haunt your nights. Laura had always thought Cedar Lane was a safe place. That was until the whispers began. Alone in her modest home, the worn family photographs told stories of a happier past. Late nights at the diner blurred her resolve, leaving her barely awake but determined to make life better for Mia. Yet, that evening, everything shifted. Mia burst through the door, her excitement radiating like a beacon in the dimly lit living room. "Mom! You have to see this app!" she exclaimed, her hands trembling with anticipation. Laura's heart sank as her daughter explained the New Age friendship zone. She pictured men in tailored suits preying on innocent young women. But Mia was enthralled, eyes sparkling with dreams of mentorship and adventure. Laura, wanting to support her daughter, hesitantly agreed to let Mia explore this digital playground. But nighttime brought shadows. Laura's heart raced, seeping dread into her bones. Strange cars cruised their quiet street, lurking like predators waiting for the perfect opportunity. Sharp nerves tingled at the back of her mind whenever Mr. Peterson, the neighbor, crossed her path. He'd always seemed benign, a fixture in their neighborhood. But now he hovered at the edge of her consciousness, his hollow gaze prickling her skin. Then came the messages. Mia's phone lit up, her face flushed with a mixture of euphoria and excitement from unknown admirers. But Laura could feel the unease prickling her skin as she caught snippets of those alluring, yet chilling words. "You deserve more," they whispered, like an echo of danger wrapped in sweet promises. What was simple admiration turned into a looming threat. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But with each passing day, Mia drifted further into this dangerous territory, the shimmering promises snatching her spirit like a spider's web. Panic gnawed at Laura's insides. She couldn't shake the image of Mia stepping into a trap armed only with naivety. Then came the fateful night, Mia's first date with the sugar daddy. Hours crawled by, darkness invading every corner of the house. Laura was paralyzed by fear, her thoughts spiraling. She reached for her phone, only to find an ominous message lit up the screen. "You can't hide the truth forever, Laura." The words felt like ice in her veins, their implications evident. Her daughter lay in danger, tied to the very man whose words promised a life of luxury. Desperation set in, forcing Laura to race barefoot into the night. She confronted Mr. Peterson, his presence feeling darker than ever. The stories dripped from his lips, tales of young women vanishing without a trace. Horror intertwined with reality, as she realized the web of terror that settled over Cedar Lane, hanging above like a storm cloud, threatening to unleash chaos. As betrayal lingered in the air, the chilling question echoed in her mind: could she trust anyone at all? The pieces of this sinister puzzle only magnified her fears, stirring an urgency in her heart. But the walls seemed to close in, and darkness whispered promises of ignorance. Time was slipping away, and Laura needed to uncover the truth before it was too late. Would she save Mia before the shadows devoured them both? Laura stumbled back home, her heart racing as shadows danced in the corners of her vision. Every creak of the floorboards beneath her feet echoed like a warning. She wanted nothing more than to cradle Mia in her arms, to shield her from the ominous threats lurking in the night. But the house felt empty, every room a reminder of the dread that filled her chest. Darting back into their dim living room, she frantically flipped on every light, illuminating the familiar space that now felt foreign. A suffocating stillness enveloped her, the kind that presaged an inevitable storm. She snatched Mia's phone off the table and scrolled through messages. Her fingers trembled with a mix of anger and fear each time she stumbled upon those enticing words. "You deserve it all," they cooed. "Don't you want more?" How could Mia, at only 17, be so oblivious to the danger hiding behind those flattering messages? With a heavy heart and racing mind, Laura dialed Mia's phone, praying for a response. The wait felt like a lifetime, only interrupted by the incessant ringing. It went to voicemail. Panic clawed at her throat. Where was she? The thought of Mia navigating a world filled with wolves was suffocating. Clenching her fists, Laura paced the floor, biting back tears. Each beep of the heavy rain against the window felt like a countdown. Laura took a deep breath and recalled the chilling stories Mr. Peterson had spun. Young women lured away and never seen again. The idea of it sent shivers racing down her spine. But what could he know? She had to uncover the truth herself. With renewed resolve, she threw on her biggest jacket and headed back into the unforgiving night. As she stepped onto the wet pavement, a familiar car rolled past, gliding through mist like a phantom. It was sleek dark, but she'd never seen it at this hour. Her breath caught. Had it been waiting for Mia? Or had Mr. Peterson summoned it? With hesitance melting into determination, Laura quickened her pace, her heels splashing against puddles. She was already outside Mia's favorite cafe, the meeting spot for the date. The neon lights buzzed uncomfortably overhead. She paused, scanning the area, breathless with anticipation. Nothing felt right. Even the air held a foreboding sense of dread. Then, across the street, she caught sight of a figure cloaked in shadows, leaning against the lamppost. He was tall and brooding, his eyes hidden beneath the brim of a cap, but there was something achingly familiar about him. Laura squinted, heart pounding as she stepped closer. It was Mr. Peterson. "Laura," he murmured, a sinister smile twisting his lips. "I was wondering when you'd show up." The dread surged, icy and suffocating. "Where is she?" she demanded, her voice shaking yet resolute. She is safe for now," he replied, a mockery painted on his face. "But isn't this what you wanted? To know the truth?" As he stepped into the light, goosebumps erupted along her arms. That familiar gaze, once benign, now dripped with malicious intent. Laura took a step back, fear wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. "What do you want from us?" she stammered, panic clawing at her throat. His laughter rang out like a dreadful tolling bell, echoing through the night. "Let us just say, you'll find out soon enough." A chill crept down her spine as he leaned closer, his breath hot against her ear. "You're closer to the truth than you think, Laura, and you might not like what you find." With that, he stepped back, blending once more into the shadows. Heart racing, Laura darted into the cafe, feeling the weight of darkness closing in. Her mind spun what hidden truths lay waiting for her. And where was Mia? The ominous feeling settled deeper into her bones, unrelenting, whispering that time was running out. She had to find her daughter. Just as she reached for her phone to call for help, a chilling message lit up the screen. "Come find us if you dare." Fear twisted in her gut. Who was us? And could she really face whatever awaited her on this relentless quest for the truth? The cafe felt small, suffocating, as Laura hovered near the entrance. The familiar aroma of espresso and baked goods, usually comforting, now felt tainted, as if darkness had seeped into every corner. Her heart thudded in her chest, a relentless drum as she scanned the room for Mia. The scattered customers, oblivious to her turmoil, were engaged in easy conversations that sounded foreign to her ears. She stumbled to the counter, ordering a coffee out of habit rather than desire. "Can you tell me if Mia is here?" she asked the barista, her voice trembling. The barista shook her head, oblivious to the urgency in Laura's eyes. "Sorry, ma'am. I haven't seen her tonight." Laura's stomach twisted. Desperation clawed at her as she turned away, phone pressed against her ear. She dialed Mia's number again, the ringing feeling like a knife twisting in her gut. Still no answer. She needed to act, needed to find the truth before it swallowed them whole. A sudden chill danced down her spine as she recalled Peterson's words. "You're closer to the truth than you think." What did he know? Did he think she was too naive to understand the real danger? She stepped out of the cafe, the brisk air cutting through her, but it did nothing to clear her mind. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, washing the streets, but it did little to wash away her fear. She glanced around, trying to make sense of the scene. There was nothing abnormal, but every shadow felt alive, every whisper of the wind unbearable. Her thoughts spiraled as she thought back to his cruel grin, the way he reveled in her terror. What was he hiding? And how deep did this rabbit hole go? Mia, she whispered into the night, voice trembling. Where are you? Then, suddenly, she noticed a flicker of movement farther down the street, where streetlights struggled against the gathering gloom. Her heart leapt. Was that Mia? Desperation drove her feet faster, splashing through the remaining puddles. As she drew closer, her heart sank. The figure wasn't Mia. It was a man, broad-shouldered and unyielding, loitering in the shadows between two brick buildings. He caught sight of her, his eyes glinting with a cold light. Something about them disturbed her, like he was dissecting her in the dark, calculating her fear. Laura stopped in her tracks, breath hitching. In the dim light, he stepped into her path, blocking the street. You're looking for someone, he stated, voice steady and heavy. Let me pass, she demanded, adrenaline surging. He chuckled, low and deep. And what if I told you I know exactly where she is? Her stomach dropped, ice forming in her veins. Who are you? Just a friend of Mr. Peterson, he replied, satisfaction curling his lips. I think you'd like to hear what we have planned for your daughter. Laura's mind raced. This was the confrontation she had dreaded. What did you do to her? He stepped closer, encroaching on her personal space, the smell of cigarettes and rain mingling around them. She is safe for now, but time is running out. You'll need to play our game if you want to see her again. Game? She echoed, mouth dry. Let us say, in this world, everyone has a price. We're just giving your daughter the chance to find out what hers is. Laura felt the walls close in. They were toying with her, weaving a web of terror around her. Where is she? She pressed, voice firm despite the tremor. His eyes gleamed with sinister amusement. Come find us and you might save her, if you're brave enough. As he melted back into the shadows, Laura's hands shook. The realization hit her, this nightmare wasn't just about Mia. It was about breaking her, unveiling the darkness hidden within their lives. She touched her phone, feeling the chilling message still warm in her hands. Come find us if you dare. With the weight of dread heavy in her chest, Laura took a deep breath. She had no choice now. Every inch forward would bring her closer to the truth or closer to a horror she couldn't fathom. But as she started down the darkened street, a voice echoed in her ears, one that promised even greater terror ahead. Could she really confront whatever awaited her? Laura moved forward, uncertainty grasping at her heart, each step amplifying the dread that wrapped around her. The streetlights flickered, a dying dance of yellow against the dark. She could feel the cold droplets of rain on her skin, but they seemed to mingle with the sweat of fear that trickled down her spine. Game, she muttered, the word tasting sour on her tongue. What sort of sick game could demand a price from a daughter? She swallowed hard, adrenaline curling her fingers into fists. Enough was enough. If she had to confront this veil of shadows, she would. She couldn't allow them to dictate her fear. Wandering deeper into the night, she turned her focus to the alleys branching off the main street. Each passage seemed to swallow sound, amplifying the hollow echo of her breaths. She recalled Peterson's warning, closer than you think. Could the truth really be within reach? A sudden noise made her freeze, a voice, muffled yet distinct, creeping out from the darkness. It sent shivers down her legs. She edged closer, the footsteps blending into the downpour, curious yet terrified. Mia? She called softly, her voice lingering in the silence. No answer. Instead, the shadows shifted. Two figures emerged, their shapes indistinct, but Laura's stomach churned. She held her breath. They were too still, too quiet. One turned slightly, and she caught a glimpse of the face smudged, grimy, like it had been etched from nightmares. The other figure bent low, whispering something just out of her earshot, glancing around as if surveying the territory. Her instincts screamed danger, yet something compelled her to stay. If one of these wraith-like figures knew about Mia, she had to hear them out. With a mix of resolve and regret, she took a step toward them. Hey! I need to find Mia! Her voice sliced through the damp air, startling the figures. They shifted toward her, eyes narrowing. The space shrank as she approached them, each step feeling heavier. "Look, if you know where she is, please," they burst into laughter, the sound sending cold ripples of fear down her spine. "Mia?" One of them sneered. "She asks not what you think." "What does that mean?" she challenged, but unease gnawed at her. "Let us just say, she has found her way into our game." The other figure straightened up, revealing a cruel grin. "And she has playing for keeps." Laura's throat constricted, panic swelling inside her. "What have you done?" "Let her go." "Why would we do that?" "She has doing so well, learning the ropes," the first figure replied, stepping forward, the light hitting his face. It was sharp and gaunt, eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "She has learning to survive, just like you." "Survive?" she echoed, confused, feeling the oppressive weight of their intentions bearing down on her. They shared a knowing glance, a dark understanding that ignited a flicker of terror deep within her. "You'll see soon enough. But remember," the second one hissed, "every tale has its price, Laura. Can you afford to pay?" The words hung in the air. Had it come to this? What lengths would she go for Mia? Would she gamble her sanity for her child? Just then, a sharp sound echoed from behind her. Laura turned quickly, heart racing, and in the dim shadow, a silhouette appeared, the man from earlier, the one with the cold eyes, re-emerging. "So glad you decided to join the party," he said, menace lacing his tone. "You've arrived just in time for the next act." Her pulse pounded in her ears, breathing quickening, panic clawing at her mind. She was surrounded. The truth felt more elusive than ever, shrouded in fear and darkness. Would she have to embrace the horror to uncover the truth and save Mia? And deep in the folds of her mind, a chilling thought lingered: was she truly ready to confront the nightmares? What other secrets awaited her in this terrifying game? The darkness whispered, promising answers and more horrors unfolding. As she took a step back, uncertainty clawed at her. Could this truly be the night that unraveled everything she thought she knew? Laura's heart raced, the figures closing in around her. The chill in the air tightened its grip, and the rain intensified, creating a morbid symphony of splatters against the pavement. The man with cold eyes stepped forward, his presence looming like a shadow that swallowed the little light left in the alley. "Joining the game means playing by the rules," he said, his voice like ice slicing through her resolve. "You should know by now nothing is ever truly free." Each word felt like a jab, and Laura fought against the panic threatening to drown her. She needed to stay sharp, to not let fear make her hazy and weak. "What do you mean?" "I don't care about your games." "Where is Mia?" Laughter erupted from the figures around her again, cruel and echoing, each chuckle a reminder of her helplessness. "You think this is about her?" they taunted, shaking their heads as if she were a child misunderstanding a deep truth. "Oh, Laura, it's all about you." The piercing realization struck her harder than the rain. This wasn't just about Mia. It was about her destiny intertwined with whatever horrors they had woven into their twisted narrative. "What do you want from me?" she managed, each word feeling like a brick in her throat. "They want to see you change," the gaunt one said, stepping nearer, a sinister glint in his eyes. "To rise or to fall. It's all a game of survival. Just like Mia." "Isn't that poetic?" Laura swallowed, the weight of helplessness settling heavily on her shoulders. "You're sick. Let her go," she shouted, trembling. The cold-eyed man tilted his head, observing her as if she were an interesting specimen. "You'll find that you're not in the position to demand anything, my dear. Why don't you come with us, see how deep the rabbit hole goes?" Before she could answer, the shadows behind her shifted. A third presence stepped out, casting its dark veil around them. It was a girl, drenched, face obscured by the shadows. The sight hit her like a thunderbolt. "Mia?" Laura cried, desperate, lunging forward. What she saw next chilled her to the bone. Mia emerged from the darkness, her once bright face now dull and haunted, eyes reflecting defeat. Just behind her, the figures shifted, looming close, more menacing than before. They reveled in her desperation. "Mia, we've come to take you home," Laura pleaded, but her daughter showed no signs of recognition. Instead, she took a hesitant step back, as if shying away from her mother's outstretched arms. "No, Mom. This is what I wanted," Mia whispered, her voice barely audible, lost amidst the deafening rain. "Leave me." A darkness swallowed Laura whole, an overwhelming wave of confusion and betrayal. "What did they do to you?" she gasped, incredulous. "You don't mean that?" "They've shown me what I can become, what it feels like to be powerful," Mia responded, her voice steely and resolute, a stark contrast to the frightened girl Laura knew. "I don't need you." Tears blurred Laura's vision. "No, no, Mia! We can fight this together. Whatever they've shown you, don't let it take you. Please!" But the cold laughter of the figures echoed through the alley, invading her thoughts like an unwanted parasite. "Time's running out, Laura," the first figure called out, the smile now spreading wider on his face. "Choose wisely, or lose everything." In that moment, Laura's heart twisted with imagination of losing not just Mia but herself as well. What would she sacrifice to reclaim her daughter? The shadows thickened around them, swirling, dipping into the corners of reality. A heavy dread compressed her chest. What kind of game was this? And a more pressing question nagged at her: could she save her daughter from this new dark path? With a final glance at Mia, who seemed to dissolve into the darkness, Laura's resolve hardened. There had to be a way to reclaim what was lost. Just then, she felt a sharp jab of pain in her ankle. She stumbled, realizing too late that a tendril of shadow from the figures had wrapped around her leg. The trap was closing in. "Welcome to the game, Laura," the man with cold eyes said, voice a chilling rasp. "Let us make this interesting." As the darkness surged toward her, Laura's breath caught. Was she about to lose herself entirely? Or could she pierce through the shadows to save Mia before the game consumed them both? The alley deepened in menace, folding around her, blurring reality and nightmare. What sacrifices lay ahead in the darkness? What price would she pay to reclaim the light? The grip of shadows tightened around Laura's ankle, spiraling up her leg like icy fingers seeking to ensnare her completely. Panic surged through her, a raw desperation igniting her heart. The darkness felt alive, pulsating with the energy of the figures surrounding her. They were parasites feeding on her fear, twisting the truth into a grotesque game. "Let me go!" she screamed, her voice swallowed by the echo of rain. The cold-eyed man merely chuckled, stepping forward with a predator-esque grace. "There's no escape, dear Laura. This is your game. You always had a choice." She looked at the figures, frantic eyes darting from one gaunt face to another, searching for a hint of humanity among them. Mia stood just behind the man, a specter of the daughter she loved, her features shadowed and lost. "Mia!" Laura cried out again, the name wrapped in agony. "You don't have to do this. This isn't who you are." But Mia's expression twisted into something unrecognizable, half cold indifference, half haunting resolve. "I'm stronger now, Mom. Just like they said I could be. Why don't you understand?" The laughter swelled, drowning her protests. Laura felt a violent shiver crawl up her back. With a sudden burst of strength, she tore at the tendrils gripping her, thrashing wildly. The shadows seemed to recoil, but only for a moment. "Stop it! Stop this!" she cried, desperation fueling her movements. "You're wasting your energy, Laura," the gaunt figure sneered, flicking his wrist as the shadows constricted harder around her leg. "Embrace it. Embrace what you are. We're not here to harm you yet." "Yet?" Laura echoed, a chill sinking deeper into her bones. What did it mean? The man with cold eyes stepped even closer, his face a mask of eerily calm amusement. "You see, this isn't just a test of strength. It's a reflection. You will see what you could become if you give in. Or perhaps, if you refuse, there will be consequences." Laura's heart thundered in her chest. She felt so small, so powerless against this malevolent force. "What consequences?" she asked, fear peeking through her bravado. "Your daughter's fate lies within your hands." His gaze shifted to Mia, who appeared to flinch at the words, yet remained static, her posture rigid. "No!" Laura shouted, knowing she couldn't accept their twisted invitation. The realization struck like a lightning bolt. This wasn't just about survival. This was a cruel trade, an ultimatum wrapped in temptation. She took a breath, grounded herself. "I want to play your sick game," she declared, shaking her head defiantly, even as another tendril crept higher, cold against her skin. The figures moved closer, their expressions feeding off her turmoil. The gaunt man leaned towards her, his breath a rasp of mortal dread. "But you already are, dear Laura. You see, every choice you make shapes your reality. And the more you resist, the shadows pulsed." She felt the cold weigh heavier, as if the darkness itself were alive, a beast hungry for her submission. "The darker it becomes." His eyes glimmered as if taunting her. "Do you really wish to sacrifice everything to keep her?" Sacrifice? It felt like a dagger twisting deep in her. "I want to sacrifice anything." "Oh, but you will," the figure hissed. "One way or another, you will lose everything you love." Suddenly, the grip loosened, not out of mercy, but as if they were stepping back to watch her reaction. Laura staggered, breathless, but caught her balance. "Mia!" she shouted again, desperate to reach her daughter. But the shadows began to swirl, morphing into shapes that distorted reality. Laura felt her vision blur, and her surroundings warped. "What will it be, Laura?" the cold-eyed man asked, his voice echoing but fading like the rain. "Will you embrace the dark? Or will you shatter, leaving only despair in your wake?" As the shadows swelled and twisted, Laura clung to a flicker of hope deep within. "I will fight," she cried, but deep down, doubt gnawed at her resolve. The darkness whispered promises, and behind it, she sensed Mia lost, twisted, yet still there waiting. Amidst the menacing laughter and shadows, a question clawed at Laura's mind: how far will she go to rescue her daughter from the brink of this abyss? And could she face the darkest parts of herself to reclaim what she loved? The air crackled with tension, blurring the lines between courage and submission. Would she find a light to break through, or was the darkness already drawing her in too deep? The swirling shadows closed in tight, compressing the air around Laura. The cold seeped into her bones, a frostbite creeping towards her core. She stood at the center of this tempest, an unwilling participant in a twisted theater of despair, but each heartbeat surged with defiance. "Not today!" she screamed, forcing herself through the weight of darkness. With a primal scream, she tore her gaze from the haunting figures. Frantic and desperate, she focused on Mia. There had to be a way to reach her. Her daughter was trapped in this nightmare, just like her. The shadows writhed and churned, their grotesque forms twisting into mockeries of her memories: family dinners, school events, laughter that felt like poison now. Each face was familiar yet distorted, taunting her with a sense of loss that threatened to engulf her entirely. "Mia, please! Fight them! I know you're still in there." She strained against the creeping tendrils, the shackles of fear attempting to claim her spirit. The gaunt man chuckled as he observed her struggle with a cruel, twisted glee. "She has already chosen, Laura," he whispered, his voice curling around her like smoke. "You should be more worried about yourself." Laura's pulse pounded painfully. The shadows pulsed in rhythm with her heart. The weight of despair threatened to crush her. "No! I want to let you take her." She pushed against the void, her voice steadying, igniting the desperate flicker of hope deep within. "Are you so blind?" Mia's voice cut through the tempest, chilling and distant. "This is power, Mom. You want to save me? Embrace it. Join us." "No!" Laura screamed, this time the sound scorched with urgency. "You don't need their power to be strong. You are my strength." As her words pierced through the din, the shadows hesitated, recoiling for just a moment. And in that brief pause, Laura felt a surge of warmth and ancient light flickering through the cracks in the dark. "Mia, remember our walks? The secrets we shared?" Laura's voice softened, desperation wrapping around it like a lifeline. "Fight for us. Fight against this darkness." The atmosphere shifted, electricity humming in the air, vibrating through her veins. Mia's form flickered, momentarily revealing the warmth of love behind the storm. Just a glimpse, but it was enough. The gaunt figure's laughter turned frantic, erratic. Do you really think she can escape us? That you can free her? I do, Laura shouted. I believe in her, in us. In that instant, the shadows writhed violently, like a beast in pain. Flickering bursts of light pushed against the darkness, unwinding tendrils that had coiled tightly around her heart. Mia! Laura cried, reaching out, willing to embrace whatever shred of connection remained. You have to see. This innocent power, it's a cage. Your choices matter. Mia's expression wavered, momentarily exposed beneath the weight of shadow. Mom? She faltered, the darkness around her flickering like a dying light bulb. But the gaunt man stepped forward, his eyes blazing with fury, lifting his hand. You think you can save her? Watch carefully, Laura, choose your next words wisely. In an instant, the shadows swarmed back, seizing Mia tighter. Laura's heart dropped. She gasped, the air catching painfully in her throat. Mia! Don't give in! Tears streamed down Laura's cheeks, each drop a prayer, a plea for her daughter's soul. Mom, it hurts. Mia's voice cracked, torn between two worlds. I don't know if I can fight. The shadows roared in defiance, and Laura felt the chilling grip around her leg tighten. She stumbled backward, gasping against the force pressing down. No! I won't lose you! Desperation clawed at her. With every ounce of strength, she bore down on the darkness. I won't let them take you. We will find the light together. As the shadows surged, mocking and hungry, a sudden flash illuminated the chaos, a brief moment of clarity instilling her with one final surge of courage. But then, the darkness twisted even further, and in its malevolence, it roared, Let us see if your love can withstand the price of sacrifice. Laura stood frozen, caught between the choices lurking around her. How far would she go? What price was she willing to pay to save Mia? Before she could process, the shadows erupted around her, pulling her deeper into the storm, leaving only a lingering question: was her love strong enough to break the grip of the abyss, or had she already lost Mia to the cavernous darkness? And as she braced for the unknown, an eerie whisper echoed in her mind, the true game has just begun. Laura felt her heart race, each beat clashing with the deafening roar of shadows pressing against her. They were suffocating, enveloping her in darkness, dragging her into an abyss she had never dared to envision. The chaos surged around her, jagged edges gnashing at her sanity like fierce teeth. Mia! Hold on! She cried, but her voice barely cut through the suffocating turbulence. The shadows pulsed violently, twisting shapes forming around her, nightmarish imitations of her past, distorted and grotesque. They laughed in mocking fashion, scoffing at her attempts to save her daughter. She could see Mia's terrified face, fear etched into every feature, barely illuminated by the flickers of light growing fainter. Mom, please! Mia's voice was a fragile thread, breaking beneath the weight of despair. I can't breathe. A surge of icy panic flooded Laura's veins. You can. You have to fight. Just breathe. Remember our dreams? Frantic, she fought to remember the warmth of their shared moments, the laughter that echoed in their home, the endless summer nights. Those memories had to pierce through this nightmare. Mia! We can't let them win. You have the power. You always have. Her voice grew stronger, emboldened by pure love. But the shadows writhed, viciously reaching for her, and she felt herself being pulled, their dark fingers clawing at her resolve. I don't want to hurt anymore. Mia's voice broke, swallowed by the shadows' relentless roar. Mom, I need to let go. No! The darkness shifted, hungry for despair, feeding on their pain. Each word that Mia uttered felt like poison, creeping in, filling the air with dread. Laura fought against the shadows tightening around her, digging her nails into her flesh almost absent of pain under the onslaught. They stretched, clawing at her sanity. Love isn't a weakness, Mia. They're lying to you. Every pulse of the shadows vibrated in her chest, mocking her words, but she did never give in. You are not alone. I'm here. Always. But the gaunt figure emerged again, stepping through the chaos, face twisted with rage and sinister delight. Look at her, Laura! Do you really think she can resist? How can you fight against what you perceive as freedom? His voice dripped with mockery. Choice? Tell me, when was the last time you chose anything but despair? Laura's heart sank. The shadows tightened their grip, reflecting her doubts as the gaunt man laughed maliciously. Was that what Mia believed? That giving in was freedom? Listen to me, Mia! She shouted again, drawing from a depth of strength she didn't know she had. Being strong means facing pain, not running from it. You're stronger than you think. In that moment of vulnerability, the flickering light surged through the shadows, illuminating the grotesque figures, momentarily banishing the despair hanging thick in the air. I love you, Mia! Laura shouted, feeling the truth impact as a bolt of fire. The shadows screamed in fury, thrashing, threatening to pull her under, battling against the light emerging from their connection. The gaunt man screeched, You fool! You think your delusions will save you? Then, with a crack that sent shockwaves through the storm, Mia's face became momentarily clear, rippling like the surface of water disturbed by a stone. Mom! Laura lunged forward, reaching into the darkness as the shadows shivered. Fight, Mia! Don't stop believing! M.O.M. The voice stopped her cold, raw and fraying. Light flickered as if responding to pure, unfiltered fear and love, illuminating the depths of the abyss as the shadows hesitated. And then the world shattered, a cacophony of cries and darkness erupted around them. Laura felt herself torn from one reality to another as waves crashed upon each other relentlessly, ripping apart her sense of self. With a jaw-clenching force, she fought against the tides. Shadows pulled at her heart, threatening to drag her into a vortex, whispering promises of relief if she just surrendered. Mia! Hold on tight! She screamed into the chaos, pulling with every ounce of her resolve, but the light was dimming, flickering like a candle struggling against the wind. What would happen if she lost it all? Time spiraled around her. But as she grasped onto something, a warmth, a thread of connection, everything felt like it was collapsing. And somewhere in the distance, an echo returned, chilling her. Don't you see? The true cost reveals itself now. What will you sacrifice for her? The gaunt figure's laughter mingled with the tempest, leaving an endless void hanging in the air. Laura's breath quickened as she braced for something more sinister than she could ever imagine. With a wrenching jolt, Laura was thrown into a new reality. The shadows briefly faded and revealed a scene so familiar, yet horribly tainted. They were in their kitchen, the heart of their home, where they shared breakfasts filled with laughter and warm memories. But now, the gentle hum of the place had turned into a low, threatening growl, twisting the sense of safety into something dark and foreboding. Mia? Laura's voice trembled, echoing through the silence. The kitchen felt wrong, shadows gathering in corners where there should have been brightness. The vibrant red curtains hung limp, as if weeping, and the sunflowers on the table wilted, their once cheery smiles gone. M.O.M. Mia's voice came from somewhere far off, not in this place, but in the depths of chaos she had just escaped. The urgency curled around Laura's mind, pushing her to move. As she stepped forward, each footfall felt heavy, weighted by an unseen pressure. The gaunt figure loomed in the shadows, lurking just beyond her vision. His laughter dripped with malice, reverberating off the cold walls. Do you really think love can defend you? You're trapped, and you don't even know it. The air thickened, suffocating her thoughts. She pushed against the darkness, clinging to memories, but they shimmered like mirages. Frightening visions of Mia flickered before her, each one twisting in agony. Laura's heart lurched. I'm coming, Mia! She shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. Mom, please! The pleading was now a distant whisper, like a candle about to extinguish, nearly drowned by the abyss creeping closer. Mom, I can't keep fighting. I need you. No! Don't say that! Laura's voice broke, echoing her internal terror. The gaunt man stepped closer, shrouded in shadows, watching her torment with cruel glee. You can't save her, and you can't save yourself. The more you fight, the deeper you fall. Laura clenched her fists, feeling the cool touch of something familiar, a small locket hanging from her neck, memories of Mia glowing within it. Summoning every ounce of love, she shouted, "I won't abandon you. I believe in you, Mia. You're more powerful than you know." The invisible pressure seemed to recoil at her declaration, hesitating. The shadows around her flickered, allowing a faint light to emerge. "What will you sacrifice?" The gaunt figure taunted, eyes glinting with malice. "Your sanity? Your heart? Anything!" She screamed, voice fierce yet trembling. Murmurs of shadows curled around her again, their whispers teasing her resolve. Each murmur unnerved her, pricking her skin like needles, making every heartbeat reverberate painfully in her chest. "I'll give you anything to save my daughter." "No choice is without cost," he hissed, gliding closer, his hollow eyes boring into her. Suddenly, the kitchen morphed again, rumbling as it shattered like fragile glass, splintering into vivid flashes of her life. Laughter, tears, love, everything was distorted, spinning into a whirlwind that threatened to engulf her. "I'll take it all!" Laura shouted, horrified but resolute. "Just let her go." The gaunt man sneered, tilting his head as if weighing her words. "Do you understand the cost? You already paid, long ago, without even knowing." The shadows swelled, mocking her with cackling laughter, louder, sharper, more menacing. An icy dread coiled tight in her gut. "Mia!" Laura cried, desperately reaching out. "I won't let you be lost. Fight with me." But the shadows laughed, a chilling cacophony echoing in her mind. And then, as Laura's courage shimmered like the last rays of twilight, she wrapped her heart in the fire of determination. What would she face next? What darkness awaited if she stepped into that next moment? Could she truly bear the cost? As the echoes of both despair and hope tangled together, Laura felt the weight of the moment build heavy and electric. In the shadow-strewn void, she braced herself for the next surge, struggling to hold on. The laughter burst around her with fresh intensity, blending with a whisper that dug beneath her skin. "Remember, Laura, the true nightmare has only just begun." Laura's breath hitched as the gaunt figure stepped forward, flickering shadows swirling at his feet like hungry vipers. The coldness wrapped around her like a noose. Panic clawed at her insides, but she forced herself to hold steady. "What have you done to my daughter?" she demanded, clenching her fists. "Oh, she's exactly where she belongs now," he replied, his voice dripping with malice. "In the midst of our little game. A game to reveal true power and true sacrifice." A violent wave of despair crashed over Laura, but she couldn't afford to drown. She thought of Mia's laughter, of how it filled the empty spaces in their home. "Mia is not a pawn in your sick game," she shouted, her voice breaking through the suffocating shadows. "She's my daughter, and I will fight for her." The figure chuckled, the sound cruel and derisive. "Fight all you want, but you'll see soon enough how fragile that bond truly is." He waved a hand, and the world around her shifted, flickering between the kitchen and the dark alley, taunting her with what could be. "Enough!" Laura yelled, forcing herself to remember all the warmth of their shared memories, the bedtime stories, the moments of joy. She could feel her heart racing as the shadows grew restless, agitated by her defiance. Then she realized something: the shadows were not just a force against her. They were fed by her fears, her doubts. They thrived on despair. She steeled herself, drawing upon the love that fueled her. "You're wrong. Our bond can't be broken," she declared. Mia's voice echoed through the storm, now a whisper of hope intertwined within the fabric of darkness. "Mom, there it was, a flicker of recognition, a glimmer of the daughter Laura knew. Mia! Listen to me. You have the power to break free. We can defeat this darkness together." Laura felt the warmth grow, pulsing against the frigid air, igniting something deep within her. The gaunt figure sneered, his facade cracking. "Do you honestly believe you can save her? This is a battle you cannot win." Laura's chest tightened, but she didn't let the fear seize her. "I know I can, and I will. No matter the cost." The shadows recoiled momentarily at her declaration, revealing fleeting light. "Make your choice," he hissed, eyes narrowing like a predator preparing to strike. What will you sacrifice to save her? Can you grasp the true meaning of that price? My sanity, my heart, anything, she shouted back, the fervor of a mother's love igniting her resolve. I'll surrender everything for her. The man laughed, shadows twitching and writhing around them, closing in. Then let us find out how deeply the rabbit hole goes. The air thickened, electricity crackled, and suddenly the world twisted again. This time, they stood in a shadowed void, stretched thin as if between dimensions, an ethereal battlefield. Mia! Laura shouted, but the shadows erupted, closing in on her. She felt herself being lifted, limbs twisting, and the darkness tugged, threatening to drown her senses. But amidst it all, she focused on the flicker of hope, the glint in her daughter's eyes. That flame had not been extinguished, it merely needed a spark. Together! Laura shouted, forcing herself to remember the love they shared. Mia! Hold on to me! The gaunt figure appeared again, closer than before, his expression tainted by growing anger. This is futile. You think a mere bond can overthrow me? Yes. Love conquers all, Laura proclaimed loudly, the strength in her voice resonating, pushing back against the darkness. We are stronger than your fear. A bright light flared around her, pulsating as if propelled by her unwavering belief. The shadows hissed and shrieked, swirling violently, but Laura wrapped her consciousness around Mia's love, reminding herself that fear could never extinguish it. I am not afraid, Laura whispered fiercely. With one final surge, Laura thrust her heart into the light, willing it to reach Mia, to transcend the chaos surrounding them. Fight, Mia! We can emerge from this together. Then everything exploded. The shadows screamed, thrashing violently against the light that stretched wider, illuminating the void and pushing back the encroaching darkness. A resonant sound shook the ground, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Laura saw Mia. Staggering back, her eyes wide and shadowed, yet slowly flicking back to life. Mom? Mia's voice cracked. I'm scared. I'm here. We're together. Just hold on. Laura stretched out her arms, calling out every ounce of love still echoing between them. The gaunt figure erupted in rage, darkness swirling around him. No! You cannot control this. But their connection surged, reverberating with strength. The shadows began to retreat, clawing at the light in frantic desperation. Together they forged a path, intertwining their spirits resilient and bright, scattering the shadows like paper in the wind. The darkness howled in anguish, tethered to its defeat as Laura steadied herself, adrenaline coursing through her veins. You will never take her apart from me. Light cascaded, swallowing the shadows as they writhed in defeat, retreating into the void. An abrupt stillness settled like a blanket over the remnants of chaos. Mia! Laura gasped, tears streaming down her face as her daughter stumbled forward, eyes widening with understanding. Mom! I'm here. I'm free! They surged toward each other, enveloping in an embrace that felt like warmth piercing through a long, cold night. Their hearts intertwined in a cocoon of acceptance, remaining united despite the shadows swirling behind them. Together. Always, Laura whispered, the grip of darkness finally shattering around them. Together they stepped into the new dawn, a fresh beginning shaped by love and resilience. As the sun broke through, illuminating Cedar Lane once more, Laura took Mia's hand tightly. They stood together, no longer alone in the face of shadows, prepared for whatever life would bring next. And in that moment, they were home. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to support the channel by taking these actions. Don't wait even one more second.